You're dwelling, ruminating, fretting, spending your time wishing the present away, waiting for this season of your life to finally be over. I understand. Some seasons are hard, really hard. And when you're in the middle of one, it's natural to look down the road and think, if I can just get through this. But here's something I've noticed after more than 35 years of listening to people tell me their stories. Some of the chapters people are proudest of weren't the easy ones. They were the ones that asked something of them. The years they struggled, built something, raised somebody, started over, kept going when quitting would have been easier. Which raises a strange possibility. What if the season you're just trying to get through someday becomes one of the parts of your life you treasure the most? And if that's possible, maybe there's a different way to walk the road you're on right now. Hi, Dr. Dave here, the GardenShrink. I'm an old psychologist with fresh insights into how growth actually works in the garden and in life. Join me on a journey to increase the harvest out there and in our personal and professional lives. Whether you're just thinking about gardening, an old hand, or simply someone interested in psychological advice minus the copay, I've got something for you. So come on, let's grow something real together. Now, I'm not suggesting we should enjoy suffering or pretend that hardship has some hidden purpose. Some things are simply painful and we'd be better off without them. But there's another kind of difficulty, the difficulty that comes with doing something that matters, growing something, building something, loving somebody, becoming somebody. Think about the stories we love. Why do we read biographies? Why do we watch the History Channel? Why are people still watching Survivor after 51 seasons? Because something happens there. There's conflict, uncertainty, failure, risk. Something has to be overcome. Take the struggle out of a great story, and there's barely a story left. So why are we so surprised when our own story has some? Somewhere along the way, many of us picked up a narrative that a good life should be easy, comfortable, problem-free. According to whom? Scott Peck began The Road Less Traveled with 3 simple words: life is difficult. That sounds pessimistic. It isn't. Once we accept that difficulty is part of life, we can stop treating every difficulty as evidence that something has gone wrong. Maybe the question isn't, how do I get to the part of life where there aren't any problems? Maybe it's, what problems are worth having? Now, I've been gardening a long time, and I've never once walked into my garden and thought, well, looks like we're done here. There's always something. Weeds need pulling, plants need tying, something needs water, something's got too much water, something's eating something that I was planning on eating. You want a garden without problems, roses without thorns. That's on the Hallmark Channel. Now, there's the difficulty itself, and then there's the story we tell ourselves about the difficulty. Psychologists sometimes call this appraisal, and it's central to cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT. How we interpret what's happening affects how we feel and what we do next. Consider the difference between, this shouldn't be happening, I can't stand this, I need this to be over before I can be happy, and this is hard, I don't particularly like it, but I'm doing something that matters. Can you hear it? Same road, different narrative, different journey. There's another approach called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. One of its central ideas is that trying to eliminate every uncomfortable thought and feeling can actually make life smaller, because almost everything meaningful comes with some discomfort. Love brings vulnerability. Parenting brings worry, among other things. Achievement brings the possibility of failure. Growth brings uncertainty. And gardens bring weeds, a ridiculous number of weeds. act ask a different question. What matters enough to me that I'm willing to experience some discomfort in its service? That's not resignation. It's recognizing that I don't have to spend all my energy fighting the fact this road shouldn't be difficult. I can use some of that energy to actually walk it. When my wife and I got married, we had next to nothing. I started graduate school about 4 months later, and for 2 months, our couch was a mattress, and our recliners were cheap lawn chairs. At the time, I couldn't wait until life got easier, until we had a little money and real furniture, a little breathing room. But today, that mattress and those lawn chairs are some of my fondest memories. Not because being broke was fun, it wasn't, but they became symbols of grit and perseverance, of starting with almost nothing and discovering we could make it. And around that same time, one of my professors, Dr. Dixon, looked at a room full of tired, stressed out, poor graduate students and said something I've never forgotten. It doesn't get any better than this. I remember thinking, you've got to be kidding me. But now, after all these years, I understand what he meant. He wasn't telling us that things wouldn't get better. He wasn't glorifying struggle. He was reminding us not to spend this season waiting for the next one, because someday we'd look back and realize this was one of the good parts too. Some experiences we would never choose to repeat become experiences we would never want to erase, because they became who we are. They built us. They changed us for the better. Think about the word treasure. Imagine your house is threatened by a fire and you've got 2 minutes to get out. Once the people and pets are safe, what do you grab? Photographs, a wedding album, a keepsake from someone you loved, the computer containing years of memories, things that may not be worth much to anybody else, but are priceless to you. Why? Because of what they mean. Some experiences become treasures the same way, not because they were pleasant, but because of what happened in them. Who was there, what we built, and who we became. And yet, when life gets difficult, we imagine this place called someday. Someday things will settle down. Someday I'll have enough. Someday this problem will be gone. Someday I'll finally enjoy my life. Someday, somewhere over the rainbow. Dorothy spent an entire journey trying to get somewhere else, only to discover something generations of us have remembered. There's no place like home. Maybe the good life isn't waiting somewhere over the rainbow. Maybe some of it is happening on the road. Everybody likes harvesting. Me too. But if all I wanted was tomatoes, there's a grocery store about 5 minutes from my house. I'm pretty sure they're cheaper. I grow a garden because I like gardening. Well, most of it. Don't know how it works, but maybe it's magic. But somehow, an aching back and a couple of sore knees make a vine-ripened tomato taste a whole lot sweeter. Maybe that's why the stories that stay with us aren't stories about people who had easy lives. Every good story needs conflict. Something goes wrong. There's a road to travel. And somewhere along that road, the protagonist changes. Winston Churchill didn't become Churchill, remembered by history because everything went according to plan. His defining chapter arrived during one of history's darkest periods. Now, that's not an argument for war. It's an observation about us. We often discover things about ourselves because life asks something of us. Courage needs something frightening. Perseverance needs something difficult. Patience needs something frustrating. And resilience, well, it requires something to recover from. All right, don't just think about this one. Give me 15 minutes. I've made you a simple one-page GardenShrink worksheet called That Was the Road. You'll find the link in the description below. Think about 2 or 3 things in your life you're genuinely proud of. something you built, something you overcame, something that mattered. For each one, write down what was hard about it, and then what did that difficulty cultivate in you? Patience, courage, confidence, perseverance, wisdom. And then look at what you're struggling with today. Maybe your own life has already taught you that something can be difficult and still good. Don't look at me, look at your own story. So maybe you're walking a difficult road right now. You don't have to pretend like you like it, and you don't have to call something good that isn't. But you can change the narrative. Instead of spending this chapter asking, when will it finally be over? Ask yourself one question. What's the story I want to be able to tell about it someday? Maybe it won't be that it was easy. Maybe it'll be that it mattered, that something was built, someone was loved, and somewhere along the road, you changed. Take 15 minutes with the worksheet. Look back at some of the roads you've already traveled. You may discover you already have the evidence. Maybe it was a hard road, but also a good one. And someday you may look back and realize the struggle wasn't an interruption. That was the road.
Hey, you coming? Road ain't gonna walk itself, and apparently it's uphill. See you later, friends.